Hey everybody, this is Sherry with Butternut Hollow Crafts, hashtag old lady with tools. Yes, I know I'm a few minutes early, but I got a big project and I'm excited and I want to get going. So let's turn the camera down and get this party started. Okay, so as you can see, I am again sticking with my fall theme because I like pumpkins. So this is going to end up being a freestanding two-sided. We're going to do this side to chunky pumpkin. And I am going to be doing both sides of these guys using just 2 sheets of Roycycled Decoupage Paper. So that's another thing. So let's do this layer first. And this side, I'm going to be using, what's it called? I think it's called the trolley crate paper. And so I'm going to get this laid out where I want it. And I got to stand up again like this. And I can kind of see where this V is. You see where this V is? That's where my next layer is going to meet. And so I want to cut my paper right along that V. And I'm going to do that using the wet method because I can see the white paint here through my paper. So I'm just going to give this a tear this way and a tear that way. And I just want to remove this V out of here. And as you can see, I went ahead and I painted these pumpkins white and stained the edges like I always do with my projects, just for time's sake. And then that way this paper will kind of meld right in there and it will be good. And so now we're going to decoupage this down. And I'm just using my water-based medium. This is a DIY liquid patina. So we're going to get this started here. And I laid this where I want. I laid this because I want most of these words, or I want these the letters anyway, on the sides. Because with these pumpkins, you're not going to see a whole lot. And this side of this pumpkin is rough. So I want to make sure that I get plenty of medium down in that wood grain. And so I'm just going to get that. What did I do with my saran wrap I had? Oh, let me get some more. I'm always misplacing my saran wrap. Okay. And you can kind of see the grain coming through this paper already. So I thought that would look kind of cool for this side. And let me give my paper a spritz so that it doesn't want to wrinkle terribly for me. That will be good. And we'll get to decoupaging. Kind of flinging it all over here. Okay. Move this out of my way. Just give it a smooth out. And like I said, it is picking up the grain in this wood because this side is rough. But it's actually kind of cool. Doesn't bother me at all. Alrighty. Lay that down. So there's our first layer. And you can see I have little holes, and those holes is because I'm going to join my layers together with a dowel. So I'm just going to stick the end of my brush and free up them holes. So I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to do the next layer. And again, this is all done using one sheet of paper for this layer, and it is the trolley crate. So we'll lay this one on there how we want it. Just got to decide where. I think that looks good. And we'll get this decoupage down. The big pumpkin, I should tell you, I used a 2-inch chunky plank, and I cut my pumpkin out of that. And then for the rest of these layers, I just used 1-inch lumber. So that to create my layers, because I didn't need a 2-inch on the whole thing. I'm afraid it would have made it really, really chunky. Almost 2. So oops, let's spritz the rest of this paper real quick. Spread it out a little bit. That looks good. We'll give it a flip. Okay. Flip you back. There we go. And there's that layer. Now that top layer we cannot do until I get these 2 layers put together, and you'll see why here in a minute. But again, I have holes in this layer, so we're gonna just hollow them out so my dowel will fit in there. Okay. Hang on here, guys. I can't see comments. Let me see why I can't see them. There's my comments. Well, hey, Jackie from North Carolina, and Barbara, how you doing, sweetie, from Colorado? Hey, Joni, I get to see your comment. Thanks, sweetie. Oh, and there's Maya, my sweet granddaughter. So now we're going to have to go back real quick, and I'm going to try and, oh, I just tore my paper because it was wet. Do you see what I just did, you guys? Here, I'm going to bring this into focus so you can see what I did, so you can see that it can be repaired. See where I tore that? But the good news is that piece I'm putting on here is probably going to cover it. So, but that's what I get for trying to rush it. But this has got so many steps to it. I'm trying to speed up time. But that will be covered up. So let's not sweat it. I won't. Anyway. I'm just going to give this a quick coat so I can get this dried and sanded off, so that I can get that other layer on there. And I want to make sure it's stuck down really good along this edge. And real quick here. Hey, Lauren, how you doing, sweetie? I'm just going to give this a quick coat, too, of the sealer, because I can't put that last layer on until I've got these done. So let me give this a quick dry. Shouldn't take too long, I hope. This side of the board, like I said, it's rough. It had a lot of grain on it, so yeah. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you caught me. Just have to get this dry, or just about dry. It's getting there, guys. Then we'll sand this off and do the second layer. Okay. Well, hi, Don. I don't know if you can let me see. Let me get in camera. Again, I'm just going one motion down to remove this paper off of here. And on those little corners, I use an emery board in those little areas, just like that. I got to hold this up so I can get a good swipe on it. There we go. Trying to stay in camera too. Okay. Get the bottom done here. Little piece stuck there. There we go. Okay. Keep coming around. This paper really probably isn't as dry as I would like, but we're making it work. Get that out of my way. I'll take the emery board right here. And as you can see, it gets those little corners good. Let me lay that back there. So there's that first layer. And now we're going to do this, and we'll get this dry. And you'll see why I had to do these first. In just a minute, it will all come clear to you. I promise. And then you'll see why I'm not excited. Didn't get excited about that tear, because it's going to be covered up. Get this a little drier than the other one. There we go. Okay. So now we got to get the edges off of this. Okay. And then where this was V'd, I'm going to make a relief cut, I call them, because it will make it easier to get that cleaned up. off of there. Okay. Keep going. There we go. Almost done. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So we got that off of there. In just a minute, guys, I'm going to drop my brush. There we go. Okay, so now we need to put these two layers together before I do the top layer. So to do that, we're going to use these dowels. And I will glue them in here after this live here. For the sake of time, we're just going to go with this. And you got to line up them holes that I made. So these fit together like that. And then this last layer has to be decoupaged on here so that you don't see the dowels. So this is how it would go. So now I'll get this decoupaged. Well, hey, Jolene, thanks for joining. I'm glad you made it. We're making a pumpkin again. A different pumpkin, but nonetheless another pumpkin. I love pumpkins. So this piece will decoupage all at once just because it's small enough. So just let me make sure I got enough medium down. And then we'll just lay this on here. Making sure. Oh, hang on here. I should have spritzed my paper, and I didn't. So let's see if we can. There we go. Lift this end up without tearing it. There. Okay. Let's give this a dry. And then we'll seal it. You can kind of see where my dowels were, but I plan on putting something on the front here. Not quite sure what. I did not get that far thinking this through. Then let's get this sealed. I'm thinking I want to put a crow on here, is what I'm thinking. But I got to make it first. And I didn't get that far. So, but you will get the gist of my pumpkin. And where you can see this white, like on these edges, I plan on going back and grunging them up with some archival ink or glaze or something. You will not see any of this white when it's all complete. I think this is dry enough to at least sand. Those little wrinkles there will dry out once it's completely dry. But now we got to get this edge off of here. I'm just going to do it same fashion. start down here. Well, and then we'll do this side. Oops, oh, that's because of the way I cut my pumpkin. That's fine. That will just get grunged up. This doesn't want to let loose. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to turn this around and we're going to do that relief cut again up here on this V because it made it much easier to decoupage it, or to sand it, I mean. Okay. I got to clean this up just a little bit. See if I can get that off of there. There. Oh, still didn't get it. Okay. There we go. So this is one side of the pumpkin. As you can see, whoops, let me get you in camera. See, it will stand up. Up. It will stand up all by itself, just like this. So, yeah. And we'll grunge up the edges and all that. But see how this edge did not get stuck down. So let's get this fixed right now before we go any further. Because we're going to flip this over and do the other side. And I made it two-sided. This side I thought will be kind of I don't know, grungy, more uniform, I guess, because the paper was so much alike. But now I got to flip this over, so let me get this dry. Thank you, Barbara. And I think, like I said, I'm going to grunge up the edges. I won't be doing it on camera because I don't think we're going to have time. But I'm going to grunge up these edges with some ink or glaze to hide all the white. And there's going to be a crow right in the center. But now I'm going to flip this over like this because we're going to do the other side. And on this side, we are going to, I used another sheet of paper. I told you 2 sheets of paper to do this whole pumpkin. Well, thank you, Melissa. And so on this side, I'm going to use, it's called the Industrial Masterboard paper. And because of the way this paper is laid out, and I really don't not have to decoupage right here because this is all covered. So I laid that piece on top, and I don't know if you can see it in the, but see, I made light marks on this side. And I did that so that I knew how much paper I actually needed. So I'm actually going to decoupage this like that. Yep, I got to have it that way because of the typography up here. So let's get this decoupaged on here so you can get the gist of this whole pumpkin. And since I have those lines there, I can just follow them. give this paper a spritz before I lay it down. And I kind of want it to go kind of like, whoops, I got to get off to the edge here. Kind of like right there is what I'm thinking. So we'll get this piece laid down. Yep, okay. Well, hey, Sarah, sweetheart, how are you? Lay this, because that's on the board, I got to decoupage that down. Otherwise, it's going to curl up and cause me problems. So let's just do that. And then we'll get this other side over here where we want it. And because of my mark, let me get you in camera. I can see that this paper's got to come at least over to there for that second piece to catch it. And so that's what I'm kind of concentrating on, is where making sure that I'm over far enough. And I like the design that was in there, so we'll go with it. I'll get this down. Okay. Give this paper a spritz. And then make sure I'm over far enough. And right about there. You know what? I think I want that in there a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So let me get this laid down. Yep, we should be fine there. Let's just get that down. And then I got to look at my line, that white mark again on this side. And so I'm going to cut this. And the rest of that will get sanded off. Okay. So we'll get this sealed right away. Okay. Now, let me make some room here and slide that up there out of the way, because we are going to decoupage the second layer. And I'm thinking we're going to go just like that. I'm just going to do half of this to start out with. And get my paper spritzed. Spritzing that paper, guys, really helps with the wrinkles. I'm not kidding you. There we go. Okay. Make sure that's laid down good. We'll get this half decoupaged. And then I'm just gonna get the wrinkles, or smooth it out, I should say. There we go. There we go. Get that. I think I need a little more medium up there. There we go. Okay. And again, I got to poke these holes in here. So we'll just ream them out with this little paintbrush. Just going to get a coat of sealer on here. There we go. Set that out of my way. Introduce the big pumpkin back in here. Get this dry so we can get it sanded off just like the other side, so we can get these top layer, or these two first layers, done so that we can do the top layer. That feels pretty good. Oops, that's still wet right there. I'll get this layer. Dry too, so that it's ready to sand. Okay. I'll try not to make a mess again. And now I'm gonna try and keep you in frame. And we'll get this sanded off. There's one side. Come around here. Okay. Yep. It felt like that, didn't it? It's not stuck down there. So just go along and fix that. Yep, there's another little area there. There we go. Okay. And now we'll get this one sanded. It needs dried just a little bit. Now, this was my own pattern. In hindsight, on that top, that very last layer, I shouldn't have gone all the way through, because then you wouldn't have had those dowel marks. But that's, that's on me. But again, it's trial and error when I'm making something. So if I did another one, I would not, I would drill in through the back. I would not come all the way through the front like I did, because then I wouldn't have had those dowel holes showing. But we'll cover them up with, like I said, with a crow, sunflower. I'll see what I can come up with. I think it will be fine. It just gets... There we go. So then here's this layer. And so it's going to go on here. Then we'll get this lined up. Maybe. And then see it so far. And now we'll do that top layer. And then we're going to do a little something extra on this top layer. Let's get this on there. There we go. We're going to add a little, we're going to layer a bumblebee, or a bee. I guess it's not a bumblebee, right on top of my paper. And I'm going to show you how to make it pop. So I think I want, yep, just like that. So let's give you a spritz. And we'll end up doing the same thing to this. As far as, you can really see that one up there because the paper's light. So we'll figure out something to put up there. Let's give this a dry. And again, each side of this pumpkin was done using just one sheet of paper per side. So it would be, doesn't take a lot of paper. Okay. I'm going to make my relief cut first. And get rid of the paper off of here first. There we go. I gotta turn this where I can get on it, guys. Okay. Okay. I see several things, guys, if I do another one of these that I would do different. I mean, this is working, but I can already see a couple things that would make it a lot easier. But trial and error, right? When you're trying new patterns and new things. Okay. So now what I want to do is, here's what we have so far. What do you think? It's kind of cute, isn't it? So you have this pumpkin on one side, and then you have this pumpkin on the other. So you can display it like that. Whoops. See, I don't have that glued down there. Or like this, but it wants to come off because I don't have it glued down. So yeah. Where am I at here? Let's get you back. There we go. So there. Okay. So we will. Oh, see, I just poked it through my paper. Oh well. Okay. So now I have this bee here. Thank you, Sarah. I don't have a template yet, Jolene, because, well, I do, but it's just my hand-drawn one because it's my own, it was my own pattern, so yeah. But so I want to put this bee on there. I think it'd be cute. But if I just decoupage this bee right on this paper, it's going to get lost. It's going to be way too translucent. So I'm going to show you a trick on how to make stuff like that stand out. You want to take, this is just the plastic wrap, stiff plastic. It's the bag that I do my decoupage in. You don't want to use saran wrap. You want to use like a piece of hard plastic that doesn't give. And then you're going to just lightly put water down on that. And then you're going to take your bee and you're going to lay it face down. And that water is stopping that bee from, so that when I tip it over, oh, that didn't work, did it? Okay, I need a little more water. Hang on here. But that water is going to stop that bee from falling off. There we go. So now when I turn this over, see how the bee doesn't fall off? That's what you want. You want just enough water to hold that bee on there. And then you're going to take some white paint. Excuse me. So I'm going to get my paint open here. And you're just going to paint, slide that over. Thank you, Trinity. The back of this bee. You're going to paint them white. Now, you don't want to go all the way out to the edge because this paint might, I don't want to say ooze out, but you know what I mean. You just want to get as close to the edge as you can get. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. So I'm just going to paint this bee. Getting very close to the edge, but not all the way. And you don't want to get paint on the other side of the bee. I'm sorry, guys. I got to get a drink of water. So I'm just going to paint that. There. Let me get the lid back on this, and then we'll dry him. And then we're going to decoupage him down, and you'll see. Okay. So he's pretty dry because he's lifting up. And I'm going to re-wet my paper because I want him stuck on there. And then I got to decide, bring the pumpkin back in. And I think I want him right in this area here. So I'm going to lay down my decoupage medium. First. Then we're going to, and see, using the plastic, it makes it clear too, so you can see exactly where you want him. I want him right there. So I'm going to smooth him out like that. And then I'm going to lift my plastic up. And there you go. He's on there. And see how you can see him really good? It's because we painted him white on the back. And then I always, because I put medium down to apply him, I always go back and put another coat of medium because I'd have to seal him anyway on the whole area that he's on. It just makes everything look more uniform to me. And so there you have it. There is the bee on there. What you guys think? Unfortunately, I have a meeting after this, but I'm going to grunge up the edges, guys, and then we'll find a way to hide that. I'm afraid to pick this up because it's not glued. We'll grunge up this edge too. Thank you, Joni. Thanks, Sarah. And then I'm also want to use some embossing. God, do we have time? I really'd like to lay down. Let's try it. If I'm a little late for my other meeting, oh well, right? I'm going to show you how to use some embossing ink because it's really cool. And I'm hoping maybe it will cover up that dowel right there. or at least make it less noticeable. Let's say that. But I got to have this dry. And if you've never used embossing ink, you've got to try it. It's really cool stuff. I think that's dry enough. So we'll just work on this area right now. So I'm going to use the clear embossing ink, and I have an ink pad just for my embossing ink. And then this is the textured stamp from IOD. It's got 4 different textures. It's probably one of my favorite go-to stamps that IOD has. And I'm just inking this up. Of course, you're not going to see it because this is clear ink. You're welcome, Barbara. Thank you for joining me. So I just inked this up. And now I'm just going to lay this kind of wherever I want it. And it's just like any other time you're using a stamp. Once you lay it down, you're committed. So you just really want to make sure that whatever you've inked up is getting good contact with your project. Lift straight up. Now, I don't know, you cannot probably see that there's ink on there, but there is. And then you're going to take your embossing powder, and I'm going to use this color because I think it matches the paper really cool. And this is from the Distress, it's the Distress embossing powder from Tim Holtz. And it's called Peeled Paint. And what you do is you're just going to sprinkle this all over where you inked, like this. And then I'm going to take a little brush, just kind of brush it around. I want to make sure I got all the places I inked. Okay. Hang on here. I got to get a paper. I saved my embossing ink. So I'm going to take that paper. And because this is so big, I am going to take this top layer off of here if I can. It'll just be easier. And I can already see places I missed. So I'm just going to kind of put this powder. I just want to make sure I get it wherever I inked. And then you're going to go like that. You're going to tap it off. And now if you look, can you see those little cracks on there? I think that looks cool. And then I got this paper because I save it. You can take this and put this right back in the container. Get the lid on there so I don't spill it. And then you heat this, or dry it, I should say, with the heat gun. And then once you heat set this embossing powder, it doesn't go anywhere. It does take a little bit for it to dry. And it almost kind of like puffs up, I want to say, but not. It swells, I guess, is what it looks like to me. It's kind of cool. But I'd like to do this embossing. Like I'll do it again up here, I think. I think it just kind of decorated up the front of it. Maybe a little bit closer to the bee. That you will get the gist of it. But see, I think that looks kind of cool. I'm just going to lay it back on here for now. So you can see it all together. Oh, see it poke through my paper again. Ah, you know what? That is going to be a problem. Hang on here. They don't want to stay in there. So we are going to take them out until we figure out what's going on here. Can fold that back down. Anyway, there you go. You kind of get the gist of it. There's my standing pumpkin. I will get a good picture, I promise. And you know what? That last pumpkin, you guys, I have a good picture. I keep forgetting to post it. I will try and get that done too. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I truly appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great evening. And if you're watching on replay, be sure and tell me what you think of my project. Enjoy your time. Thank you, Lauren. I will see you guys all later. Well, thank you, Dana. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. Much love to you all. Bye.